Lots of enthusiasm, lots of excitement. We come with lots of energy to the program, especially knowing that it is our responsibility to inform the Liberian people. And so we are on obligation to protect that. Yeah, so it's good to be here this morning.
Okay, this other setting is a one copy.
No, but I don't miss anything. I told you, you have to accept the
Ah,
angles. You have to accept. So you see how it looks. You have to observe the angle of the whole side,
yeah,
right?
but you.
You need to
But it's
extend
good to be here,
and
folks.
backward.
It's good to be here,
Yeah.
folks. And
Extend continuously, then you get a microphone. You can
yeah,
speak.
so it's good to be here. The guy has turned
I look
to
at you sitting
TV
there.
TV director.
We are multitasking.
Okay, but it's good to be here. Those of you watching, folks, would like to say good morning and welcome. And those of you watching, thanks for joining us. You are our special viewers, and it pleases us being back on the show. Yes, indeed. We're going to talk a lot about issues unfolding in Liberia. We will pass through on the issue of the National Elections Commission, the registration process that is ongoing. Too many things. We have heard too many things from in the various canons and the rest of it. We're going to talk about them this morning. Yes, at 8 o'clock, hopefully we want to speak with our correspondents this morning. There is this report in Maryland that a guy has gone missing for days, and that's the only thing. So we can just manage the way it is. A guy has gone missing, and family members, community residents are all in search for the past days, and yes, they have not seen the man in question. So Vanny Kaman indeed will bring us up to speed this morning on this on that development, and we hope to travel to my Gibi warehouse in is to bring us up to speed as well on latest issues unfolding in district number 2 and Margibi as a whole. Okay, 8 o'clock this morning, Tough Talking Shark Koyate will be our guest. That conversation runs up to 9. In 9 o'clock, we'll leave our beautiful studio, one of our beautiful studios here at the Voice of Liberia, to join Crown FM. There will be a relay from Crown FM. Yes, Mayor Jefferson Koji, the Lord Mayor of Monrovia, will be there hopefully at 9 a.m. this morning. So Sheikh Kuyate comes in. He sits in our hot seat at 8 o'clock, and that conversation, runs up to 9 this morning. So that's the menu for you. It's great that we're here. Those of you watching, do us one thing. Make sure to share the live, and let's have conversation this morning. It's important that you do that, yes. And tell us exactly where you're following us from. Just leave your comment in the comment section, and we will acknowledge you following this morning. So it pleases us being back on the show. Too many things to talk about. Harris, that's the template for today's edition of the show.
Yeah, but definitely. And the menu is reached for discussion. Like you said, it's important we go across the country. You know, Liberians are eager at every point in time to know what is happening in other parts of the country. And so that's why we have to introduce the correspondence segment on the show. And so it helps inform me about other happenings across the country, right? And so we are going to look at that. And like you say, 8 o'clock, Sheikh Kuyate sits on the platform.
Yeah.
Lots of things we're going to discuss this morning. And at 9 o'clock as well, we talk with the Lord Mayor of Monrovia. That will be relaying that interview from Prime FM. So, yeah, the main is reach for discussion. All you do, you encourage someone as well to listen. Perhaps you invite someone to listen, or you follow us on our online radio as well. www.voiceofliberiaonline.com, and you form part of the program as well. You play the listening role because what we discuss also impacts you as well.
Yes, certainly. So we encourage you to also, invite somebody like Harry said, and let's share the live. Tell us exactly where you're following us from, and let's have conversation this morning. Too many people are following. Harry's,
It's from my
okay.
angle.
Yes, so okay. So we're going to do it like this. I don't know what's happening. I got to get some people on this. So like we said, we will travel over to Maryland this morning. Vanning Kaman will bring us up to speed this morning. But quickly, let's acknowledge those of you watching this morning as we start the program. Those of you who have left comments on our the comment section. Our regular follower, One Week, says, "Good morning, guys. I'm following live on Johnsonville. Thanks for always following us." Joe J. One Way. Thanks for always following us. T. Sylvester Yensua says, "Good morning. I'm following closely from the borough of Nuclear Town, Bubba's Garage Community, respectively." Okay. Thanks to joining us. Papi Keita, he says, "Good morning, Liberia-VOL. CDC Papi Keita from Duport Road." George G. Saki Jr. says, "Good morning, VOL. I'm watching from the most talked about Honorable John Sylvester Elas Avenue in Basseltine, Door Community. Thanks for joining us." He said, "I'm following from my car on my way home. Usman Koli allies DJ Foul. Thanks for joining us as well, Foul. And we say kudos to you for always being regular in handling the night shift here at the Voice of Liberia. It speaks volume to a large extent. Yeah, so we here. So those of you following, Kamon Kamara says, "I'm following live on South Korea. Thanks for joining us." Ishmael Bala Mayanko says, "Good morning, Voice of Liberia. I'm following you from Duport Road, District number 4. Political Cooper Passaway joins in and says, "I'm following live from Ganta, Nima County." Wow. Political Cooper Passaway from Ganta, he follows. Thanks for joining us. And to leave your comment in the comment section. Indeed, we will acknowledge you following this morning. It is great that we're here together for the benefit of our country, Liberia. Okay, so we're going to travel to Maryland this morning. Oh, yes. Viney Carmine is reporting from Maryland this morning that a Tottenham University student has gone missing. Who went missing has been discovered dead in Grand Cru County. Wow. That's this development from Harris. This thing is always happening in Maryland. You remember the other student that I think he was a high school student, the motorcyclist that was killed by three different persons, and it created a scene where the women, children, and citizens from all walks of life in Maryland, gathered to do a protest, and had to declare a curfew in that part of the country. This thing, someone says, is boyo.
Yeah, that's how they refer to it. The boyo and the boyonism, right?
It's serious.
Yeah, but no, it's serious, and these things continue to happen. I mean, in all parts of Liberia, the last time was in bombing, right? The situation of the 2-year-old child. And this time again is in Maryland, and Maryland is always noted for that. The last time it occurred, there are a series of action from residents, from citizens, from women groupings, and this is another occurrence again. We hope to talk with Vanny Kama to give us what's surrounding that development. This morning, because I follow up on when he sent me his report. I was a bit baffled that these things will continue to happen in Liberia, and especially at a time where everyone is focused. When these things start to come out during election period, it scares away the citizens, right? It places them in fear. And so when people are living in fear, their movement, their ability to do certain things is stagnated. And we don't want that to happen. Nope. One of the ways Liberia can give back to her citizens, everyone have the right, they feel at liberty to do anything, everything in accordance with the law. And it pains one to know you living somewhere, you live in fear. I mean, your life, every time you're afraid that this thing will happen, that thing will happen. I mean, all the kinds of belief when they continue to play out is a very challenging one. So we encourage that the relevant authority will step in and ensure that justice is served. But like we said, unless we talk with Vanny Kamba, who has a detail of this story.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
sure. I don't know. Viney, I don't know what's happening to Viney. We gotta get Viney from line since.
but perhaps we can cross the hours in while we are waiting. Uh,
Yeah, so I want us to deal with
yeah,
this
Yeah,
housing since not to be ready as well.
Vanny issue to us was really carried on.
Yes, so this development, we hope we can get Vining on this one. Vining, please speak up from Maryland. So Vining is reporting this morning, fellow Liberians, that a student from Tottenham University in Maryland County who went missing has been discovered dead in the Grand Crew County. So how did he end up in in Grand Crew from Maryland? So sometimes you see them interchanging. Those they are most of the students from Grand Crew. So you see them going to, I don't know what is the distance so far from Grand Crew to Maryland. So you see students from Grand Crew going over to Maryland, and this is what. Good morning, Vani. Come on. Good morning. Good morning, Vani. Oh, Vani. What's happening to Vani? It seems like Vani. Yeah, Vani. Please speak up. Okay, so if we cannot get Vani, and then we'll move over to my Gibby County this morning, and okay, Vani is not ready. I was saying why. Let's take you from the. Lower Maigibi, Howison joins us from Lower Maigibi County this morning. At 8 o'clock, Sheikh Kuyata will be here. Yes, he has accepted to sit in our hot seat to answer some of the questions. Good morning, Howison. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Paco, and good morning to our listeners.
It's great having you. Are you stuck somewhere that your voice is not coming? Where are you this morning, Housing?
As I speak to you currently, I'm making my way to the Barclays Farm Food Center, the Food Center in Barclays Farm Community District to Maggie. I'm not too okay this morning. I'm suffering from some coaching last week.
Yeah, so you gotta stay yourself. I'll take some ginger and the rest of it. Did I hear you say Barclay Farm community, one of the biggest communities in District 2, is going with just a center?
Yeah, a single center within Barclays Farm, and that center is the Molobinova institution. That is the only center in Barclays Farm, a community that hosts over 12,000 persons as you speak. I'm talking about people from age 1 up to, let's say, to or whatever. Yeah, only one center within the community. I'm going there this morning to get some, because yesterday we were told that there was some misunderstanding between some persons at that center, so we thought to visit that center this morning.
Misunderstanding? What do you mean?
According to some sources, I don't want to dwell on them this morning because sometimes you hear people saying these things, most especially politicians. Some group of politicians say another person is talking, while another person is saying another person is also talking. So to verify that, we'll have to go at the center this morning. Maybe we stand to a distance for some 2 to 3 hours and see what's really happening. But we cannot just confirm to you that this person is involved in this or that person is involved. So we ourselves go and see for ourselves this morning.
It is worrisome that majority of the people in Barclay Farm, I know that community, will not have the time to register when you have just a center.
Yeah, interestingly, we are seeing just the same for a community like Barclays Fund, Dorota have two centers. A community like Barclays Fund to have just one center is so difficult. So people will have to leave Barclays Fund. Some of the citizens have to leave Barclays Fund, go to carpentry to the public school. Some will have to leave Barclays Fund, travel to the Habermas, the Habermas community to have themselves registered. People will have to leave Barclays Fund and also travel to Camp 2, to the kindergarten building to also register because the center within the area, one, the center is low, just a single center. Even the NC staffers at that center are not working in time. Some persons complain like I visited the center on day 3. There was completely slow pace of work at that center on day 3. I think according to the guy that I spoke with, they registered the entire day, 38 persons. Imagine that. The entire day from 8 o'clock up to 7:15. Well, I spoke with him, 38 persons, because he said their machine was giving some problem. You have to put the machine off. When you put one ID card, put it off, it will take time before you print another. So we just saying the same thing, and I'm left thinking. But all we can say to our people that they should take advantage of this process. We don't know if this process will be extended.
How was it?
So
How was
it?
it?
That NEC take these things into consideration.
How was it?
The online registration? I think NEC too will have to take put some measures into place with this online registration. Because all that we see from out of the 27 centers, because I have visited all of the centers within the district of Magibi, Lower Magibi. The 27 centers, sometimes you see children who are below 18 taking advantage of the online registration. Because when you do the online registration, you go at the center, you will not be quizzed.
Wow.
Not many questions will be asked you. So they will just take your phone from you, scan the QR code, and then print out your ID card, do your photo, and print your ID card. But if you go at the center without the QR code, I think NEC will be able to ask you some questions. Some of the staffers, they will be able to ask you some questions. But many persons who are below 18, like I saw 2 of the children on yesterday, 2 at the Dothan Center, the Mall of Jesus Christ, precisely. If you see them, definitely, you know, they are not of age. They are below 18.
Okay,
I
think you
Yeah.
wanted to
How was it? Basically, I'm a bit concerned about how has it been before during previous elections, where you mentioned that the Barclays Farm has just a center. I mean, we want to look at previous elections, or how many centers were at that place during previous elections to now that we have just a single center.
I remember during the election, the 2020 election in Barclays Farm, there used to be 2 centers. One used to be at the Liberia-VOL, then one around the research camp area.
Yes.
You used to have another center there.
Sure.
But today, no, we have just a single center within Barclays Farm. And also, in the 2017 election, you had another center around the public school, the Carpentry Public School, that you can just easily go there from Barclays Farm because they are closer together. You can just go there and have yourself registered. For this, no, only one center.
There is a growth in population now, so I think there should be another center so far in Barclays Farm.
Yeah, there should be. Like yesterday, one of the I think the commissioner for NEC visited us, and they were distributing ID cards or the cards to their workers. And when I asked him yesterday, he said one of the reasons why these things are happening because their budgetary allocation is low. So since it is low, NEC cannot take on the responsibility to maintain those centers. The many centers they used to have, they'll have to reduce them, reduce their workers so that they can be able to fit within their current budget so that they can go.
Okay, Howison. Okay, so we will definitely join you this evening as you do your own independent investigation as per the trucking. We've been following that particular issue as well from this side, but wish you of the best.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Howison Owa corresponds for Voice of Liberia in Lower Magibi, bringing us up to speed, reporting this morning that the Barclays Farm community, one of the largest communities in Magibi, the lower end of the county, is going with just a center. So this morning, Howison is visiting that area, and he will actually bring us up to speed on the latest. So like we said, 8 o'clock, Shakuyate will be here. Let's join Avani once again Vani is not picking. This development is quite interesting, and we want for Vani to report. He's not picking. I don't know what's happening to Vani Kama. So Vani will bring us up to speed. Vani is reporting this morning that a student from the Tottenham University in Maryland County who went missing was discovered dead in Grand Crew County. I think Vani seems not to be ready. But there are a few issues before we take our guest this morning. We can just weigh in within 3 minutes time. Yes, we can just weigh in on it. The issue of what we are experiencing now, the alleged trucking of citizens from one point to another. I think Liberians, by now, at this time of our politics, we should be well positioned to understand that we should not be carried away by what the politicians said in times like these. Look, it shows how unserious, unprepared these people who want to represent you are. Oh yes, because a serious Monday president who wants to represent the collective interest of a country, a county, or a district will not be involved into issues that will create violence. Look at what is happening in district number 10, Montserrat. Since the start of the voter registration exercise, if it is not in the day, in the night, there will be a scene created. For the past days, with the latest Saturday, young people have been used to create scenes that it's not in the interest of this country. And I read a communication from the National Elections Commission saying that they will be more robust and any candidate or political institution that will be involved into trucking will be penalized. I say it is a charade for the National Elections Commission. That particular statement cannot be taken seriously because the National Elections Commission sits there and allow these things to happen so our guests can come in. The National Elections Commission sits there and allow these things to happen and they say nothing and do nothing about it. Where on earth do you think you're going to punish any political party or someone who wants to represent a district when these things are happening? The measures are not being put in place. Look at the common voter registration exercise. Look at the awareness. The politicians have used the opportunity to sell themselves instead of giving out the right message that they want to preach. So what is the difference? What exactly have they come to show that the National Elections Commission will come up with a statement saying that they will punish any political institution or candidate that will be candidate that will violate elections law, most especially that concentrates on the issue of trucking. The National Elections Commission is not serious about this. Voter registration exercise, you see the mega big billboard.
Yeah, man.
Big billboard.
And you see a whole lot of pre-campaign messages instead of the actual intent of you encouraging the citizens to vote. And I love the way you place it. The Elections Commission just want to measure way, right? They just want to say these things so as to buy the sympathy of the public, because over times we have complained there are evidence upon evidence to prove that those involved in these things, instead of them encouraging the citizens to go register, you see them, they are using the time, to propagate their own message, campaign authorities, which of course the Election Commission has informed us that they frown against this happening. So I just don't know what is happening, but we continue to say peaceful elections for those, the parties involved to accept and embrace the outcome of the elections. Those that have been charged with the responsibility to guide the process must ensure that the right things are done. From the earliest state of this whole process, we continue to observe these happenings. People, various parties, even the public, those Liberians are not part of the voting process, like say, they are contesting the election, they see the lapses from the commission at the earliest stage. We continue to point at these things. You are charged with the responsibility to ensure that people abide by all of the rules and regulations governing the election process. But if you sit and fold your hands because of partisanship or because you feel that, you are entitled to certain individuals to do certain things, so even a person is in the wrong, you tend not to tell them, it will be headed to a wrong process. Trust me, when this things, what is happening now, and happen across across the country when it continues to persist, and there is nothing done to ensure that those practices put to a halt at the early stage, it will serve as a very challenging moment for our election process.
Okay, so it's great to be here. Like we said, we have the tough talking Shakuyete. He has transitioned from seeking the senatorial position in Moxorado, and he says his eyes are on the hardest office in the land. He has promised to transform Liberia if elected president on October 10. It is our pleasure, Honorable Kuyate, to always have conversation with you, and it pleases me in having you on the show. Good morning, Liberia. Yes.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you and your colleague, and also good morning to my fellow Liberians. It is always a pleasure and a privilege to be here as a guest.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing very well today. I'm grateful that the Almighty God has spared my life to see to this date. It's a great opportunity for us. So every day once you are alive, it is a day for celebration.
And I always see you dressed up in such a uniform.
Yeah. President Tobo had a unique uniform, and he's one of the presidents that I see as my role model, apart from Joseph Jing Rabas. Joseph Jing Rabas is one president that I always remember. He's the only president in the history of Liberia who left everything he earned to be used for the young people of this country for their education. So he's my first role model. The second person is President William Arotoba, who created a system of governance that brought about transformation in this country. So I always see him as my role model, and his color was white.
Okay.
So I'm also imitating him to do the same.
So what exactly motivated you? There must be something about him. We just disregard the dress code and the rest of it. Some policy statements.
Yeah, President Tobo was one person who created a stage for self-sustainability, where he encouraged farmers to compete. Every country will compete. The country that will produce more rice will be awarded. These were things that created, employment in our country, and also encouraged people to get to the soil. And he was one person also who believed in the industrialization of agriculture and mining sectors. So he was also, we were producing our own rice here. We had a lot of factories in Liberia when he was president. And we had an open door policy with Freeport of Monrovia, where many people used to come in, like how we now go to Togo and Guinea. So people, those surrounding countries would come to Liberia to do their things. So he was one president that I still remember, even though when he was killed at the time, I was 2 years. I was born in 1978, December 24th. And when I read about him, and he's one person that actually touched me because he was a people-centered president. Okay. He was one person who wanted to see Liberian people being united. He was always focused on seeing Liberians as one people. He was not focused on tribal, say indigenous Congo. That was not his focus.
You might have read about him. He's 2 years.
Yeah.
Nothing different you have gotten on the land of experience.
I read a lot about him, and he was one person also that encouraged people to use their own name. most of our comrades at the time, even with the university, you have to change your name. You must have a westernized name before you go to school. So he changed all of that. Those young people, he's also one of the first presidents that brought in young people to governance.
Okay.
You know, so I admire leadership, and he was a peaceful person.
If
And he was a man of God also.
you read a lot about him, like you said,
Yeah.
and his policy. You've been moved
Yeah.
by his policy
Yeah.
and some of the things he did according to you. This is Liberia. Years in, years out. This is where we are. Have you seen someone similar to the issue of the presidency, like Torbert?
I have not actually seen that yet. And one person that we saw, we
You
imagined.
maybe just get the microphone closer.
Yeah, we imagine President Weah to be like a President Talbot, being someone who, because President Talbot was served as a vice president before becoming president, but he was one vice president that was open to everyone. Everybody saw him as a unifier.
Okay.
So President Weah actually was seen by Liberians as someone who has not been active in politics, who have not been in our traditional politics, who was just an athlete, and he contributed a lot to disarmament of our people when we were going through war, and he became a national identity for our country during the civil crisis. So people felt that he could be the best person. That's how we all supported him. But contrary to our utmost surprise, we saw a different person. But I can tell you that one thing I do know, and I believe in this country, that Liberia has a lot of great leaders. The challenges we have in this country is that most of our leaders don't avail themselves, and they remain behind. They remain, indoor and kept saying, "Let people do their things." So if we sit down and say that,
You think it has some trickle-down effect?
yeah, that's the challenge we have, and because those who are the available and the qualified leaders fail to come out. Then you begin to see people coming out from all angles that they want to serve in the parliament, in the legislature, they want to serve in the executive and judiciary. But we need to create a system of leadership where a government would not be recognized, would not be controlled by an individual, because we have a democratic system in this country. And under the democratic system, the executive is just an executive branch. The legislature is a brain of a government. And you see that lawmakers, we could succumb to the president just by a mandate given to them by the president. And they have the power to impeach the president. They have the power to remove that president. They have the power. And in the governance system of our country, in the democratic system, the voice of the people is heard through the national legislature.
Someone want to argue with you that perhaps if you leave the case of Liberia, you look at other parliaments across the world, obviously the case is just almost the same. Same in a sense where the president will have to have majority voice in the house so that instructions given on bills and what have you, it will pass through easily. So in most parliaments, you see the president, right after taking over, will do everything he can so as to have more legislatures, at that house from his party. So when they go to party, then he prevails even in terms of decision making. We've seen that all over.
Liberia is
how different now in the case of Liberia.
The interesting thing is that this government, when the election was won by President George Weah, the CDC-led government, the opposition had more senators than the ruling party. The opposition also had more representatives than the ruling party. So the opposition were in control of both houses. But the fact that most of them don't believe that they are representing people. So some of them think that they are representing themselves. Because if you are elected by the people, the president has no power to dismiss you or to suspend you. You speak directly for the people. So if you see that both houses manage to have a leader from the ruling party, and you begin to ask yourself, what is it that the lower house, the House of Representatives, majority are from the opposition, independent candidates? How come the ruling party got the speakership and the deputy speakership? And the deputy speakership was given to the opposition. So you begin to ask yourself why. You look at the president pro tem of today. He was not a member of the CDC. He was from the opposition. He was an independent candidate from the opposition. Then later he switched, became member of the ruling party.
Someone to Russia that was with the president.
Yeah,
these things happen.
When these things happen, that is where we have challenges, because the voice of the people, the strength of the Liberian people, lies in the legislature. So that's why people are always saying that the presidency is the best position. But I can tell you, if you want to have a responsible president who responds to the needs of a citizen, you must have a responsible legislature.
What has changed, and what will change?
What
in
has
the coming
changed
days?
is that probably we have created a system which is not actually a democratic practice, and this system is leading us to dictatorship. Because a leader, we always want to consult the people, and the people's recommendation is what is executed by leaders. But today in the legislature, how many of our lawmakers are going to discuss for people to have consultation with people that we have the discussion on table, we have this case on table, we need to discuss it, and the views of the people, they go in and share with their colleagues. We don't see that. If it happens, maybe few of them do it. So that is why the president become a dictator. Not that he chooses to be a dictator, but those who are in the legislature, they present him as a monster.
Is it only we as administration that these things, the system has changed, or you want to look at previous administrations and compare the present happening with them?
If it happened when Madam Sirleaf, former president of Liberia, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president, there was the speaker was compared to recuse himself from the position of speaker, and that campaign was led by people from CDC, and our opposition. What did they? People believe that to lobby, it means to give you money. To lobby with lawmakers should be based on ideas, on logic. But people have forgotten the issue of logic, and they believe that the best thing to do is that when you are giving money, it means you have a commitment to do. And Madam Sirleaf was part of the manipulative system. She was in control of the legislature. She was in control of the executive, likewise the judiciary.
That which all presidents want to do.
Yeah, and which is undemocratic also. A democratic president would not want to have that. Because even you are one who is heading an institution, you want to have people that will have an opposing voice to you, so that at least you can learn from them. But if you want everything to be yes.
I want to disagree with you. I want to disagree to a point. That these things happen, that for instance, our president will want to have majority voice in parliament, because there are decisions, there are laws, there are recommendations differently of which that president feels that it reconciles with his manifesto. Now, to get it going, to get it running, obviously we need majority in the House of Parliament to ensure that work out. Because, mind you, if you have majority opposition, at times the opposition will want to blind eyes even on something that impacts the people. They want to blind eyes because it has an understanding that if this pass, we are majority opposition in this house, but yet still when this thing pass, it serves the image of that government, which it provides the possibility for that person to win the elections. All of these things you want to take into consideration as a president.
I do agree with you, and I also want to make a correction here. I didn't say that a ruling party should not have majority in the legislature. I'm saying that the lawmakers should be the actual voice of the people. Let's examine the governor, President George Weah. What are the decisions taken that have been in the interest of Liberian people through the legislature? The legislature passed an agreement for IBOMAF. The president approved it. Where is IBOMAF today? The legislature passed an agreement for another company from Asia. They want to take over a contract of $1 billion something. Where is that project? Where is the money? We have drugs being entered our country. They are not able to ask the president or to investigate people. Who are those that brought the drugs? We are armed in this country. In fact, the Deputy Minister of Justice confessed that there are more people in this country today that have arms and they are not state security. So today, we have more people in our country, malicious.
But he did not specify that those arms, what are they registered?
He didn't specify.
Okay.
So to tell you this, if you have a strong legislature, it doesn't mean that the legislature should be opposition. A strong legislature means the people who represent the Liberian people. The president, they will serve as a guardian for the leadership of the presidency to work well.
Before you come back up quickly, let me ask Mr. Shekuyate this question. Do you know Farafina Mensah?
Farafina Mansa is my nickname. When I was a child, my mom gave me the name Farafina Mansa. In Madingo, it means the leader of Africa.
Because the reason we ask this question, there is another account on social media that bearing Farafina Menza,
Yeah.
and that account also portrays that Farafina Menza is the owner of the Farafina Investment Group, and so we saw Sheikh Kuyate, who is well known by that name, Sheikh
Yeah,
Kuyate,
yes.
also is Farafina Menza.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, is it that you change your name from Sheikh Kuyate to Farafina Menza so as to not be subjected to certain things?
No. This Farafina Mansa, I've been using this name. It's a name that I love, I cherish so much. Most of us have, because Facebook have limitation of 5,000. So my other account is Farafina Mansa, but you see only Sheikh Kuyate when you go through it. And Farafina Mansa is like my private email, my private WhatsApp, my private Facebook account. But it is my account, which I don't use often. Like, there were times I was actually active on it, but it's my account. Farafina Mansa is my account, and I love that name because my mom gave that name to me, the leader of Africa, when I was 7 years old. So, but
You
my
will
actual
continue
name,
with the name.
yeah,
Why you didn't continue with the name?
it's a nickname.
Okay.
It's a nickname. Yeah, it's my nickname. My actual name is Sheikh Ali Mustafa Kuyate, and which is also meaningful. Ali Mustafa means the choosing one, also.
The reason why I asked this question quickly, Parker, before you come in,
Yeah.
we understand the tactics of social media.
Yeah.
At times, people will not want to use their real name that they are widely known in the public, and they will tend to use, different names so as to carry on some deeds and some different things you want to talk about. You are a prominent figure. At times, perhaps the name Sheikh Kuyate, you want to change it so that you be free to do certain things, whether legally or illegally. That, of course, we can verify. That's why we asked you, why is it that you have to have another account there in different name and carry your photo? At times you want to, you want to disturb the minds of your followers to which of those to follow.
That account is the basis account. You said the owner of Farafina Investment Group. Yes, I'm the CEO, the president CEO of Farafina Investment Group. I resigned on Friday, actually, from that position also. So the statute will change probably very soon. So today the company will take a new leadership, even though we're not active now in Liberia. Farafina Investment Group is now active in the UK, in Kenya, where it's being managed by Professor Lumumba, who is the chairperson of the group. And we're also in Mali, we are in Guinea-Conakry, we are in La Côte d'Ivoire, and we're just starting to open a branch in Ghana. But now the headquarters is in Nairobi, Kenya, and Professor Lumumba, who is the chairperson of the company, he's heading it now. So
Why you closed down for Liberia?
we closed down for Liberia because in Liberia, once you're in politics, you cannot do business. When you are an opposing voice, you can do business. So, but we are always there to help our people. We are there to provide support.
Are you being suppressed in short?
No, suppression. When you say suppress,
Because once you're in politics, how people see you.
It creates more challenges. People see you as an enemy in this country.
And that will lead to suppression.
Yeah, it's suppression, but I see it as a challenge. And I also see challenge as a chance to success. There's no way you can become successful if you have not been challenged.
Okay, Mr. Kuyate, it is great that you're here this morning. We saw your declaration. The date, we saw a declaration from your end.
On the 24th of March.
Yeah, 24th of March. I'm seeing something different.
Yeah.
Harris, will you just go in that declaration, maybe the first, second paragraph? Yeah, I don't know, my eyes.
I'm trying. Okay, I have it. Thankfully, I have it right here. It says, where is this thing? I stand before you today, humbled and grateful, to honor the founding leaders who courageously signed the Declaration of Independence at the very church laying the foundation of our beloved nation. I acknowledge the invaluable contributions of our religious and traditional rulers in forging this glorious land of liberty. Your presence here today is a testament of the unwavering commitment to a prosperous, equitable, and a just Liberia for all. United, we have the power to shape the future of our nation and demonstrate our collective resilience to the world. And paragraph 2 says, as we approach these pivotal elections, let us remember that our decisions will have far-reaching consequences for our children and future generations. We face significant challenges, But I'm confident that with your support, we can surmount any obstacle and achieve greatness. Our task is clear: to replace poor leadership with a trustworthy, reliable, accountable, and compassionate leader who
Okay.
prioritizes economic growth, job creation, among others.
Okay, that's good. So let's just get to paragraph 3 that says, I vision a Liberia that is more prosperous, equitable, and peaceful, a nation that offers opportunities for all, regardless of tribe, religion, or social class. This dream is within our reach if we implement a holistic approach that addresses our economic, educational, social, and security needs. Let's just stop over there. You have transitioned. You've been very vocal, going for the senatorial seat. Now you want to be president of Liberia. This is a question that you dodged so many times through our interviews and the rest of it. Now you have declared your intention. Why do you want to be president?
I want to be president to serve the Liberian people. I want to be president believing, understanding the situation of our people, knowing what it means about our disabled person being deprived of opportunity, being deprived of access to healthcare, education, job creation. I want to become president to create a Liberia that we all deserve. A Liberia where we see ourselves as one people, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's Liberia I look forward to. I'm looking forward to being a Liberia, or president of Liberia, or new Liberia, where we see ourselves, our uniqueness, which is defined as people of freedom, where freedom will be ring in this country. I look forward to Liberia where we will not see ourselves, our identity in tribes or religion or in sect or in, but I look forward to Liberia where we all see ourselves as one people. So I want to become a president of Liberia, or Liberia with a clear vision, one Liberia, one people, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It speaks to a larger extent. Seeing you as a person who has not, who hasn't talked in that particular direction, and now you are here, there must be a problem. Probably there is a cause that made you to have embarked on this joining, which of course you will come to on the line of policy.
Yeah.
If you say you envision a Liberia that should be more peaceful, prosperous, and the rest of it, is it that it is not in the case of Liberia now that these things that you people say are not strange to maybe we the citizens, or maybe some of the things you want to undertake? What have you observed about this Liberia you have envisioned?
I have seen another Liberia where violence is a way forward, where people are more eager for another war. I'm seeing a Liberia where people have been deprived of opportunities, even though we have opportunities to create jobs for people. We have opportunity to reconcile our people. We have opportunities to empower our people. We have opportunities to create accountability. We have opportunities to develop this country. But failure, the system that we have cannot support these opportunities. So because of that, I believe that I'm not coming in to say, Sheikh Kuyate will change. This is what I said, together we can. I'm coming in as a president who will work with every Liberian. I'm not coming to say, I'm taking over. I know that president will be defeated by me, and I also believe by the grace of God, in the will of the Liberian people, that I will be elected as the 25th president of Liberia. But I'm also not coming to say that when I become president, that those who are serving government, that they will all leave. They are Liberians. Those who are qualified will remain in their position. I'm also not coming as a Liberian president to say, okay, I'm coming with only my people. No, even those in opposition, those are positions that they are qualified for. I know that they can make huge contribution in these areas of trust. I will ensure that they are appointed to those positions so we can all work together. Liberia doesn't need a young president. Liberia doesn't need an old president. Liberia needs neither a Christian president, nor does it need a Muslim president or a traditional president. Liberia needs a Liberian president. A president that will see everyone as one, that will create opportunities for all, that will seek justice for all, that unite all as one people. indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I read your lips, and there are too many things that come into mind.
Yeah.
One will ask, Liberia does not need somebody who will be tribalistic, like you said, more Liberian.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say someone, you cannot be more Liberian than the other. Yeah, that is for free. But what do you think is Liberia's problem?
What I do see as our problem is that justice has vanished. Liberia has lost its ingredient. The ingredient of this country was not created because there were hunger. This country was not created because there was no water. This country was created for freedom, for men and women of this country to live freely in this country, to have justice as a gospel, as a doctrine of leadership. Today, you saw recently a lawmaker went and collected talks and went at the University of Liberia to meet students with talks. If we have a peaceful Liberia, we will not see that. Today, our mothers cannot even afford to pay their children's school fees. And our fathers, most of them cannot even have a job to do. And most people that are qualified, that were trained by this government, they have been deprived jobs because they said they were trained by previous government. So because of that, we do not have prosperous country today.
I was more particular.
And let me come here because
I was more particular, Honorable Kuyate, when I asked the question, what do you think is Liberia's problem? You talk about justice.
These are what I'm talking about. And let me tell you something. One of our focus is this. That is why we are open to work with any group of people, but we will not work with anyone who have been involved in war. We will not work with anyone who have been involved with corruption, who have been indicted or sanctioned for corruption.
One of the areas, Sparkle, quickly before we come in, as part of your declaration, paragraph 2, if you read through that statement, speaks to poor leadership in Liberia.
And that is exactly what I will come in.
And paragraph 3, 4 to it says, you envision a Liberia that is more equitable.
Yes.
Now, if we want to look at it grammatically, right, if you say more, it means there is something that exists, right? You just need to increase on it.
Improve it.
So improve it.
Yeah.
So it means that we have a Liberia that is more equitable. Now you spoke of, justice is vanished.
Yeah.
How justice will vanish in a society that is equitable as we speak. Now your vision is to make it more equitable. So to increase it. So I believe that the audience that is listening is being lost when you in that point.
We will say more equitable. We will not say that Liberia, that all of those leaders that have served our country, that none of them serve well. If I say that, then it will be a serious disservice to the 23 presidents that have served this country, including President. We are the 24 presidents that have served this country. This is what we say. In this country, there were times Liberia was a place, a hub for development.
Okay.
It was an example for justice. Liberia led the independence of many African countries. Liberia was a founding members of African Union. That was once African OAU, Organization of African Unity. Liberia is also one of the countries that was the founding member of the United Nations. So you cannot say that such country is unequitable. So our present situation today, with the government today we have, which I can say was given birth by the past leadership, we do not have a Liberia where justice reigns. That is why we see our people are killed and they are always autopsies, and autopsies always say there's no foul play. That is why you see people are being indicted by LACC and they still work and they are being protected by the government. That is why people are being sanctioned by the international community for corruption. They accepted, yes, indeed, the allegation is true, and based on acceptance, they withdrew from the government or resigned from the government, yet they are now active that they want to contest for an elected position.
That you see as a huge leadership gap in Liberia.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And that where you think is it coming from?
That is where I'm asking, because there's no system. If a system is being put in place,
someone will say that we have system.
the system is not being respected. We have laws in this country, but the question is, does our law exist? Or is our law being respected? No. We want to have a leadership where the legislature will be an independent legislature. We want to have a leadership where the judiciary will be an independent judiciary. Even if the president has majority in the legislature, it will still be independent. An independent legislature doesn't mean it should be opposition. An independent legislature means that it should be the representation of the people.
Mr. Kuyate, you speak as if you have
the solution to the many problems? You
We
talk
have.
about the legislature, you talk about the executive, and the judiciary. Let's look at a key policy.
Yeah.
Liberia is lacking system. No, there is a system, but the issue of implementation is key
Yeah.
on the agenda. If you are to assume the country's highest office,
Yeah.
you talked about justice. How do you intend to solve
The
that?
first note, though, will create a deterrence for justice, who will immediately establish war and economic crime code. My first 100 years, for 100 days, the first thing I'll do is that I will veto the establishment of a war and economic crime code in this country. And all of those have been sanctioned by the international community. I will ask the support international community for them to be prosecuted in this country. And besides that, those that have been sanctioned, that have been indicted by the LACC former chairperson, I will have the records and show that they have been investigated. And those who have been working in previous government that have been indicted, like during Madam Senator, there was people who were indicted. Today they are free. During the interim government time, there were people who were indicted. Today they are free. I will ensure that all of those who have been indicted, there will be prosecution for them here. And that we will have to strengthen the judicial system. That's why when you look at my speech, you read my speech, attentively realize I mentioned about reformation of the judicial system and improving the livelihood of the judicial personnel.
These
That
things
is
are
in-
not strange.
They are strange because look at in Liberia today. You know, a police officer is earning $90 after tax. This police officer transports himself to come to work. This police officer buys his own uniform. This police officer has to pay house rent. This police officer has to feed his family. This police officer has to send his children to school. What do you expect of a police officer? That's why most of them have become corrupt. That's why you see our officers today, they don't even look like our national security. They look like people who are just being recruited in the community to come up. So we want to ensure, because when you have a strong a reform judicial system in the country, it means that there's national security.
Your message not different
Yeah.
from the rest of the other messages being preached. There are names that have come out before the name Sheikh Kuyate for the presidency,
Yeah.
and they speak similar to the way you speak. They want to speak about the 90 days. They will bring about the war crime code in country will ensure that justice prevail. And all of this is happening. Liberians, to some extent, I want to say you guys are no different from the rest of the names are surfacing. Evidenced by the fact that all of you come on the same platform, the same messages you continue to preach.
No, we don't come on the
Are you
same
concerned that these things it plays out a lot that the people are tired of hearing these kinds of messages, which of course at the end time it doesn't. Play well for
Liberians
them.
are not tired of hearing the message from Sheikh Kuyate. Sheikh Kuyate, before declaring as a presidential candidate, on aspirant, has been very vocal for the past 20 years, calling for justice in this country. Sheikh Kuyate has been very vocal when it comes to accountability. Sheikh Kuyate was a member of the ruling party today, in opposition in 2013, that suspended his membership when his party, then party, connived with the previous government to to make decisions against Liberian people, which was over 60 concession agreements against our people. He suspended his membership. This is the same Sheikh Kuyate who withdrew his membership. We realized that the government he put in power from the background of an entrepreneur, as a business person, withdrew his membership, believing that the reason for which they were elected into power, the message that was given to the people, that those messages were not being implemented, withdrew from there. That the document that was presented to the people, that those documents are not being implemented, withdrew from there. That Sheikh Kuyate will be trusted by Liberian people. Let me give you an example. In 2020, I was contesting for the Senate, and I came out that the referendum was not agreed, that it was not fair to Liberian people. Firstly, they were unaware of what they were voting for, and secondly, it was a plot to undermine the democratic system in this country that President Weah wanted to go for 16 years. And I went to various countries and I told people, you don't have to elect me as a senator, but do one thing for the future. Say no to referendum. Guess what happened? We have over 80% of Liberians that came out and said no to referendum. Why did they do that? Because they believe me, they trust me. So I can tell you, Liberians know me. You know, a friend of mine called me yesterday from the US. It's my first time talking to him. He said, Sheikh, trust me, you're one person that I see in this country that can do best. But it's only fear I have is that you are for a Muslim. And I laughed. I said, but that's my strength. That's my strength. Because a strength of a man is you accepting who you are, believing who you are, and at the same time you stand for everyone. And he said he agreed with me. And I can tell you something. Most people, when we began the conversation, you were curious that this guy Mr. Kouyaté contested for the Senate twice. He lost, and how come can he win the presidency? Of course, I said to him on Friday. Abraham Lincoln, when I read about him, he lost so many times, not to become senator, but become representatives. And when he decided to run for the presidency, he was asked the same question. And he said to them, yes, a strength to contest for the presidency is a fight I lost so many times for the lower house. My agenda is not limited to the lower house. My agenda is a general agenda, that an inclusive agenda that is unlimited and that suit the Republic of Liberia. And that is why the presidency is the only area that suits my agenda. That is why when you see the 4 pillars, when you listen to the 4 pillars of my agenda, my platform, when you acronize it, it's read. I believe to have a Liberia we deserve, we must have a reconciled citizenry. I believe that to have the Liberia we deserve, we must have an empowered citizenry. I believe to have the Liberia we deserve, we must have an accountable leadership and accountable system. I believe that to create the Liberia we deserve, we must have a developed Liberia.
It sounds like the regular things that the people say around
you. Could say that.
When you should have gotten to the presidency,
it becomes different.
It becomes different. You need to rub shoulders with some international bodies. People are around you, interferences and different things play a lot into the decision-making process.
And guess what? Before my declaration, I spent 1 year, 3 months, having meetings with international partners. I had a series of discussions with African Union. I had a series of discussions with EU, with ECOWAS. I had a series of discussions with EU, like also the United Nations and other international organizations. And I met many African leaders, many world leaders, and I shared the platform to them. And I can tell you something. There's something you will say all the politicians will come, all politicians will come with the same message. But there's one thing in this country that I'm noted for. I'm noted as one person who has been very consistent. Liberians respect me for that. They honor me for it, and they respect me for that. And I can tell you this, my brother, this country will be your Liberia that will all deserve under my leadership as President of the Republic of Liberia. And I can tell you for sure, next year, January, when I'm being inaugurated as the 25th president of this country, that day, from that day to the middle of my first term, you realize that indeed a Sheikh Kouyaté is not someone that you can see to be other people. But at the same time, I also believe that I will not be a good leader without other people. I cannot do this.
And that's when distraction comes in.
No, it cannot come in. Let me tell you something.
How practical are you?
I'm very practical. I'm very practical. That's why I took a decision that not even when I withdrew from the government party, when I withdrew from the ruling party, my wife was angry with me. You have suffered so much. You have spent over 10 years, 16 years with the people. You have spent a lot of money. You have spent all of your time. What will you leave? What do you benefit? And I said to her, there are 2 categories in life. One is a businessman. What you intend to get is wealth. When one is a leader, what you intend to get as a result is wealth. And what is the benefit of wealth? Properties. What is the benefit of wealth? Integrity. And that's what we stand for.
You said in your administration, you will empower the touch economy to generate jobs for millions.
Yeah.
In your opening statement, when we asked about the country's problem, you mentioned the issue about job creation. What is this thing called touch economy?
When we talk about touch economy, Liberia is a rich country. We have abundant resources, abundant opportunities. We have natural resources. We have good land for agriculture. We will ensure to have agriculture sector industrialized, where we have mechanization, a chino system to table system. What we're going to do, we ensure that all those who are producing rubber right now, for example, we say if you want to be a rubber producer in this country, in your foreign company, you must have a manufacturing plant in this country, at least 30%. Those who are in the gold mine, we say, okay, the government of Liberia will organize a gold refinery.
Okay.
This gold refinery, the government will take 30% share. We are giving minimum 30% share. We'll give 70% to investors, foreign and local investors. That means for every gold that leaves this country, 30% of the gold will remain in a reserve. That is for Liberia. That is for our country. After we have done, we have refined the gold. That 30% of gold will serve as, will be in our voucher, will serve as what? Guarantee. We will call it collateral. So if the government wants to build a hospital, we don't have to go and beg people for loan, or to say we give a loan and then we give a sovereign guarantee. No, we use the gold that we have as a guarantee that this gold is a collateral. We want to build this hospital, and when this hospital is built, if people have to be paid $50, we say, okay, because it's a government project, the people hospital, they will pay $30. That $30 will be the one we use to pay back the money used to build it. We build roads from that same gold the same gold we have in the bank. That same gold, when we build the road, we have a toll booth, like in Ghana and other places. For every vehicle that passes, or even motorcycle that passes, any moving object that passes there, you must pay, to the toll booth. The money generated from there will be what we use to pay. So we create jobs. And in Liberia, all those who are importing rice, I'm very clear with them. People, when you want to become leader, they are afraid to say some things. Those who are importing rice, will give them 24 months to have a rice processing plant in Liberia. After 24 months, we cancel every importation license for rice in this country. That would prioritize those who are farmers. Government would come with like how we had LPMC. We have a new form where the government will have these factories, and people who are farmers will empower you with logistics to buy the rice from you. We refine it, we sell the market, and whatever benefit you have from there, then you can go and continue on our farm. In that case, you encourage farmers to go back to the soil. In that case, you encourage those even who want to come to your country to take iron ore. They'll be compared to have a manufacturing plant in this country. That means that we'll be producing our own steel. You cannot have iron ore, surplus iron ore, and they say they still buying steel. And again, now we have one company here that is also manufacturing iron steel in this country, Seti Bread, to be very specific. And local business people have been deprived not to import the steel in this country. And Seti Bread price is even higher than the international price. How can you have a local company that is producing steel in your country, then the people are buying it locally higher than even international price? And others are being denied that they shouldn't bring it. So what we do, the government of Liberia will also establish, in partnership with the private sector, it will be a private-public project where we'll have a steel manufacturing plant. Liberians who have interest to get into the business will have shares in this business, and steal from those of our area, the concession accelerator, 30%. For every shipment they make, 30% will be taken to the industry. It will be manufacturing in Liberia, industrializing Liberia. It will create jobs for our people. We'll have steel cheap in our country. We are not coming with any kind of a protocol. We're going to be very pragmatic. And these are things we say, these are possible. We have people from the disabled community. We want to have inclusive healthcare, inclusive education, but we want to specify something here. People in the disabled community, the blind man and the blind woman who cannot afford, they have to go on the street to beg. The government will train them to become independent, where to be able to do something to be useful in the community. Their children will have free education until university level.
Easier said than done.
Easier said because we have it
Easier
possible.
said than done. You are not different from what we've experienced
I'm different.
over the time.
I'm different. I'm Sheikh Ali Mustafa Kuyate. Listen, when I was in 2012, I went to the UAE. I met the ruler of Dubai at the time. I was much younger at the time. And I asked him, how did you arrive to where you are today? He said, we have nothing but oil. You have everything. But what we did, we prioritized the people. That is why my mission is putting Liberia first.
The human capacity
My concern
building.
about it is about, when you spoke about human capacity building, where you want to use the case of the disabled community, the visually impaired.
Yes.
Mr. Kuyate, what runs to mind is, what has been your last intervention? I mean, reaching out to these people.
Oh, so many times.
That serves as an evidence that or Kuyata's administration will provide the environment for the disabled community? I mean, has there been a time where we can find?
Let me tell you something. I have one. I don't want to call his name. A friend of mine who is visually impaired, who has a farm, a cassava farm, in District Number 1, Maserati County, and I support him. I've been there with him, and I have another friend who his wife is now doing a little business. I've been with him, and I met with their organization to see and talk to them. And one of the concerns made to me, he said, Sheikh, we want our bill to be passed. President Salif, the government passed it, but the only thing that needs to be published. And the government of President Weah have not yet published it. President Salif government too failed to publish those things. I have a document I'll share with you.
Okay.
And guess what? I have been in discussion with them, even when they're having convention, I'm always in support of them. I tell you something, no man was born with not being disabled. Every one of us that were born, we were all born disabled.
Okay.
None of us could talk when we were born. None of us could walk when we were born. None of us could hear when we were born. None of us could see when we were born. So we have to think about that. That's why I always prioritize them. But what I'm talking about inclusive, I say inclusive, where you show that you're empowering young people. Look at our country today. When you go to communities, you see most young people have become just addicts. That's not what they want to be. They don't choose to be that, but because they don't see the opportunity. Young people cannot be proud to call themselves ex-combatants. But because they are not being reintegrated in the society, and they are not being trained to become professional people, they are proud to call themselves ex-combatants. And people, even those in prison, some of them are in jail for 10 years. If we have a program where we carry the technical college there to train people in prison, when you leave from that place, you can be skilled. So if this person was thieved, and he's trained to be a carpenter, when he comes out after 10 years, he already has a trade. He'll become an independent person. So we want to empower every Liberian.
This government seems like looking at what they say sometimes, like they have done much. some of their followers will say than any other government in Liberia. President Weah has asked for another term to continue some of the things he has done. In Liberia, he talked about rural connectivity, is key on his agenda, and the rest of it. Why do you think President Weah should not be given the second term?
President Weah has convinced every Liberians that he cannot fulfill the promises. One of the first promises President Weah made to Liberian people, that he will make this country a land of justice, where an accountable system will be done. And in honor of his leadership, we are saying people have gotten on the streets so many times to protest based on injustice. People have protest based on corruption. And today, 2 months ago, even at the end of last year, I stated here that President will be invited at the US by the CIA. People adopted it. I said, okay, if people adopted it. And I tell you something, Sheikh Bashir Kante, who was arrested with a diplomatic passport, involved in money laundering, and other people have been involved, that are going through investigation. There have been a lot of confession about this thing happening in Liberia. And I can tell you, President Weah himself does not even have a message to convince Liberians that they should vote.
You think the president?
I don't think he has a message.
You think the president is allegedly involved in these things?
He is a leader. When you're a leader, that's the difference between a leader and a boss. When you're a boss, an employee can be blamed for something done at the company.
Must sit somewhere and trust people.
I'm saying to you, the leader responsibility is to ensure that everything is put in place. To always have contact with your ministers, to always have contact with those you appointed, because these are people, your direct lieutenants, to know exactly what it is. That's why every week, he has cabinet meeting every week to have consultation to know exactly what's happening. So whatever happens in this country, on the leadership of President George Mani Weah, he's aware of it. But I can tell you for sure that President Weah, I look forward to seeing President Weah after a tenure of free men in this country. I do not think that President Weah should be treated, ill-mannered. But what I can tell you,
what do you see?
What I see, that justice will take place.
What type of justice? Do you think the president will be prosecuted?
If President Weah have not done anything in contrary to leadership, in contrary to the constitution of our country, in contrary to democracy, he'll be a free person. But if President Weah does anything against the will of the Liberian
people, do you
people,
see something, though, sir?
I'm saying to you now, if there's no evidence, you speak.
We got to go to the phone line. Yeah. But there's this question I want to ask before we take the calls.
Yeah.
The opposition bloc is here. Sometimes we talk about the proliferation of political parties in Liberia. And the 2023 elections is crucial. Who do you see in the opposition that you guys share similar vision?
I have good relationship with everyone. I have good relationship with all of the candidates, including the sitting president, President George.
Who do you think?
But what I think that there's something that I would not accept, which all of the political parties have accepted. I will not collaborate with any political party that whose leader or leadership was involved in war.
War.
Yeah, and I will not.
Is that party or social Liberia?
Yes, I can tell you. In Sierra Leone, there are people who took part in election and who were
Do you
involved.
see that
I
in
don't
Liberia
see.
as a radical?
There's a possibility that we'll have coalition.
You have
I'm
noticed
asking-
something.
Listen,
You say you are not associated with party.
You're not associated with a party
that
where
participated in war.
I'm participating in war, how war laws.
Yes.
So we are asking,
Yeah.
do such parties exist
Yes.
in the politics
Sure.
of
What are the parties?
We have been, even though legally, Liberia does not even have a war law, legally. But our president has been pointing to people, stood in the church and referred to somebody as a rebel. The president of the Republic of Liberia.
And you visited
make
the
reference-
president church?
I visited the president church, and the president gave
You
me that
supported the
explanation.
president.
Oh, listen. I supported the president on truth. The president said to me, Shikuyate.
And that's where conflict the whole thing,
No,
right? because
Let me
at some point in
if
time-
you are a practical
Let me come in.
I didn't support him as a presidential candidate.
But your
I
presence,
didn't-
there speaks to the
yes.
fact that you reconcile
What did
with
you
his
go
politics.
there for?
I will visit every Liberian. And that's why I'm saying that we establish one economic crime code. Those who will be found guilty.
You said
they
you
will be
went there
prosecuted.
to know the truth.
Yes.
What was the
The
truth?
truth, he said to me, I wanted to know actually if the gentleman who was killed, who they said he shot himself 3 times in his head, if information was true. And he said to me, the man never shot himself. The man never shot himself. It's not possible somebody shot himself 3 times in the head. And secondly, he said to me, I asked him, I said, Honorable Senator, he said yes. I said, will you support war economic crime code? That was one of the key questions I want to ask him. You know what he said to me? He said, Sheikh Kuyate, you have been very consistent. I will support war economic crime code. I will support the establishment of that
Till I
code.
listen to
He said to me, and guess what? When you look at our interview, when I left from there, when I came downstairs, when I was interviewed by journalists, I also mentioned that Senator Prince Johnson said that he's prepared to support the establishment of war economic crime code. He said to me, Sheikh, if the president can go now in the church and call me killer, it's good that we have this code established. Let's be proof who are the killers, who are the thieves in this country. So war economic crime code is good to be established so that we know the killers, we know the thieves.
Let's
What
take
I want to
6
ask
minutes.
was quickly, Parker, before we get to the phone, is important I bring this in, is that all of what you have said, all of the brilliant plans you lay out that you envision for Liberia, one of the things I stand tall is that our leader at times is open, despite you might not be the one implementing that vision. Sometimes you have the vision, you share with others, sometimes you want to give it, those are in the driver's seat to ensure that these things are done. Are you open at any point in time, perhaps being called by the president or someone from the opposition community that checking out what you spell out there, all brilliant plans? We want to work with you. We want you to bring these ideas to us so we can work together for the betterment of the country.
Sure.
Not necessarily that you will be president, but then if it calls for you to stand down as a president, are you willing to do that?
I'm willing to collaborate with Liberian, any Liberian who believes in the vision, who is credible, responsible. I tell you, my fight is not that I must be president. My fight, I want to see Liberia. We will all see ourselves as one people, where one will not be restricted from a county because you do not have origin from there, where every county become a home to every Liberian, where every Liberian will have access to opportunity that God-given opportunity will have.
Let's go to the
it is
telephone
not
line.
no, let me conclude. You
Yeah.
ask the question. So it is not that I will say that I must be president, but I can tell you that with the situation now I'm seeing, I'm quite sure, I'm optimistic that I'm the 25th president of this country.
0770-907-907, 5 minutes to go on the show. We talk to this person on line 1. This person, good morning, let's hear you. What's your name?
Good morning.
Good morning, let's hear you. What's your name?
Yeah, good morning.
30
Mr.
seconds,
Shakti.
yeah.
We have been following you for the past time.
Good morning, my brother.
Use this video to tell you thank you. My name is Che Emmanuel Nyapai. I do call from Roman's Bridge Electoral District 15. I'm a visually impaired person
Thank you.
and a founder of a local civil organization. Most people have two question to ask you, sir. Please, one, are you waiting to carry a visually or a disabled person as a running mate? Two, we have a disabled person within District 15 want to contest, but then he's looking for a specific party to contest on. Are you willing to support that person to be on your party TJ?
Thank you. I believe he
Okay.
has his concerns to talk to this one. That's good morning.
Good morning. SP.
Just go to the point, McLean. Just go to the point.
Yeah, thank you. Activist McLean Reno. I have a secretariat.
McLean, just go to the point.
Thank you, veteran. Thank you, veteran.
Yeah.
It is overwhelming. It is gratifying. It is so kind to see the level of politics and the level of appetite people have created for politics. I want to say to the big brother, kudos on your endeavor and what in fact you can bring a tremendous change to our Liberian society. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, my
This
brother.
person, good morning. This person is out. So we'll take your calls. We got roughly 2 minutes to take your call, and then we call it a day on this edition of the show. Good morning, Liberia. 0770-907-907 0880. This person, good morning. Tell us what's your name?
That's why I'm calling for 24 finger.
Let's hear you go ahead. Shaq is here.
Yeah, I want to tell the man in Cedar that we don't need somebody to fool us before. So we are not here to be fooled by those who are saying they can move us. So come 2023, we carry them. So we are nobody else.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so 0770-907-907. Another person is on this side.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Samuel Collins, and I call from the borough of Nicotine.
Quickly, let's hear you.
Yes, I want to say thanks to your studio guest, Honorable Sheikh Kouyaté. I listened to him. He spoke eloquently. But I have one question I want to ask him. He did mention that actually he's not going to collaborate with any political party who has a word love. Now my question is, if he were to go to a collaboration where he emerges as a presidential candidate, will he not still? Thank you.
Thank you. This person.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, before Mr. Kouyaté leave, I'm Chairman of Pie. Before you leave, please announce a number that we can get to you too.
Okay,
Chief.
sir. I'll do that.
All right. So the last question was, what if you collaborate with other people and you emerge as the standard bearer in a spirit where you say you won't associate with anybody that has something to character relative to the 14 years or so, or will you still accept such a collaboration? So I think we will address more of the concerns from the callers.
Okay. So let me begin with the first caller, who asked a question that whether I'm prepared to support
officially
representative. Let me say a disabled person as a running mate or as a candidate. In fact, right now I have been in touch with 2 people from the disabled community, and I want to support them to become representatives. So I will share my number with you, and whoever you think that is credible, honest, and that can lead our people, I will support them. And I also support people from all backgrounds, most especially women, in the process. So this movement I'm having, the independent movement that we have, we will encourage women, more women to be with us as parliamentarians. And secondly, I'm prepared to work with anyone, any Liberian, whether visually impaired or not, to be my vice president with a credible or character. I can tell you for sure, I will go with that person.
Who is your vice president? Your vice presidential candidate.
My vice presidential candidate have not been, I can announce that now, but I can tell you in the shortest period of time. Before May, I will announce it.
An independent candidate.
An independent candidate. And interestingly, most independent candidates, when I declare on Friday, I got over 60 calls from 60 independent candidates from around the country. Wow. I was shocked. And I asked myself why. And one of them said to me, Sheikh, with you, who have been very consistent, we have never seen a Liberian in this country that won election of a party and withdrew from the party in just 2 years of the leadership of that party. You're the first. So we believe that we will stand with you. The objective will be a sincere one.
Okay.
And the other gentleman asked a question, the last one. What was the question he asked?
If you emerged with other political institutions and the rest of it, and you emerge as the standard bearer, will you not still collaborate with?
I, Sheikh Ali Musa Kuyate, will not collaborate with anyone that has been found guilty as a warlord to be on my ticket or to have a collaboration with the person. I can say that today. And if it causes me to lose election, I'm prepared to lose the election, but I will not do that.
It has been a wonderful time. Thanks for accepting our invite. I look up for more conversations of such. Next time we come here, you're going to delve into your policy. Some of the so we're going to go straight to some of the issues that you think you will have, your team, and the rest of it. But it has really been a great time.
Thank you very
and
much.
Wish you all of the best in your endeavors.
Thank you so much.
It speaks volume to have you.
And we'll leave by saying, we wish you happy Ramadan as well.
Thank you very much.
We didn't see it for the start of the show.
Yes,
But thank you.
Thank you so much. And I say to Liberians, thanks so much for those who listen to us. And believe me, together we can. May God bless you. God bless Liberia.
Okay, this is how I would like to call a day. We'll go for this break. Coming up very shortly, folks. We join Prime FN Mayor Jefferson Koji. We appear live on Prime. That is 9. It's 2 minutes after now. And we hope to bring you that interview coming up very shortly. Let's take this break. My name is April M. Parker. Harris Willie is here. And we'll be right back.
Do you want is here to provide all your internet service needs. The internet is moving at a fast pace, and only super fast internet speed can help you keep up. At Telecel, our internet packages are divided into